Summer heat is already on the way, and if you're making even one of these 10 common mistakes, your lawn could be dead by the end of July. The grass is beginning to feel stress, and most homeowners are about to do exactly the wrong thing for the next 4 weeks, whether it's overwatering or pulling weeds in a way that actually harms the lawn. By month's end, they'll be standing in the yard staring at brown patches, thin spots, and crabgrass pushing up through bare soil, wondering how everything fell apart so quickly. I'm Lenny. I've spent the last 20 years working on lawns, and I'm going to walk you through each of these mistakes and show you how to fix them before the worst of the heat hits. 551. Watering at the wrong time. The time of day you water matters far more than the amount you apply. The worst time to water is late in the evening. When you water at night, moisture sits on every blade of grass for 10 to 12 hours straight. That long, damp window in the dark is exactly what fungal spores have been waiting for all season. Brown patch, dollar spot, rust, and similar diseases love a wet lawn after sundown, and they spread rapidly in July heat. The next morning you may see silver, dollar-sized brown circles popping up across the yard, and your first instinct will be to blame the temperature. The easy fix is to water right before the sun rises, ideally between 4 and 8 in the morning. This window minimizes loss to evaporation. If you water at noon, you can lose about 30% of the water before it ever reaches the soil. By watering just before sunrise, most of the water stays on the ground long enough to soak in, and then the sun quickly dries the blades. If you have many irrigation valves and need to start earlier than ideal, that's fine. Just avoid the middle of the night and the heat of the afternoon. Adjust your controller to run at 5 in the morning this weekend. That single change will solve half of the problems most people face. 152. Inadequate coverage. Even if you water at the right time, the quality of your irrigation system matters. You need complete double coverage. Every sprinkler head should reach the next head, providing head-to-head coverage. If one sprinkler only reaches halfway, dry rings will form, showing up later as faded brown crescents in an otherwise green lawn. Coverage must also be even. Never mix different nozzle types on the same valve. A rotor head and a spray head deliver water at vastly different rates. A spray head can output 4 times as much water per minute as a rotor. Putting them on the same zone creates a soaked area next to a barely watered one. Test your system this weekend. Place 6 empty tuna cans around the lawn while a zone runs for 15 minutes, then measure the water in each can. If one can hold an inch and another only 1/10 of an inch, your coverage is broken. Replace bad nozzles, adjust arcs, and make sure no heads are tilted, blocked by overgrown grass, or spraying onto driveways. I often see homeowners watering sidewalks with at least one head in almost every yard. Consider sun exposure. 2. One valve should not water both a shady stretch under a tree and a baking strip along a driveway. Those 2 areas need different amounts of water. The shady spot needs about half what the sunny spot requires. Separate your valves based on exposure whenever possible. 553. Watering too frequently. When it gets hot, many people want to water every day. Sometimes that's appropriate, but the overall goal should be to water deeply and as infrequently as possible. Daily light watering is the single biggest mistake I see. When you water a little each day, roots only grow as deep as the moisture reaches, often staying just an inch deep. Then a hot weekend arrives, the top inch of soil dries out, and the whole lawn collapses. Deep watering once or twice a week trains roots to chase moisture down 4, 5, even 6 inches. A deep-rooted lawn can shrug off heat that would kill a shallow-rooted one. Determining how much water to apply can be tricky, especially with heavy, compacted soil that runs off quickly. The solution is to cycle and soak. Run the zone for 10 minutes, let it rest for half an hour, then run it for another 10 minutes. The first soak softens the surface. The second penetrates deeper. Most lawns need about 1 inch of water per week, including rainfall. Use the tuna cans to figure out how long your system must run to deliver that inch. For most systems, it works out to somewhere between 30 minutes and 2 hours per zone. When planting new seed, you do not use deep, infrequent watering. Instead, water 3 or 4 times a day just to keep the seed moist on the surface. Deep, infrequent watering begins once the lawn is established and rooted. Infrequent watering is a moving target. In cool weather, every 5 or 6 days may be enough. In the peak of summer, every other day might be right. For heavy clay or compacted soil, a monthly application of a soil penetrating or compost tea helps break down soil, make it more porous, and make deep, infrequent watering possible. Your lawn will tell you when it's thirsty long before it turns brown. Walk across the lawn and look at your footprints. If they stay pressed down and the blades don't spring back, the grass is wilting and it's time to water. The blades also fold, curl, and take on a slightly bluish-gray color. Learn to read those signs and you'll never overwater again. If your lawn goes dormant and brown during a brutal heat wave, do not panic. A healthy, cool season lawn can survive 4 to 6 weeks of dormancy without permanent damage. Keep watering just enough to keep it alive, about half an inch every 2 or 3 weeks, and it will green up beautifully when the weather cools. 4. Unnecessary dethatching and aeration. Many people think they need to dethatch and aerate every year. That treats a symptom rather than fixing the underlying problem. Dethatching is often done because a layer of decomposing organic matter, old grass, dead roots, and similar material has built up on top of the soil, blocking air and water. This layer forms quickly if you rely only on synthetic fertilizer, which feeds the plant but starves the soil life. If you have healthy soil full of microbial life, that life will break down organic matter on its own, eliminating thatch. Aeration is the same story. People aerate to soften soil and make it more porous so water can get through. If you build your soil with biology, the soil life aerates it for you. Earthworms, fungi, and bacteria tunnel through the ground every day. A single healthy earthworm can move its body weight in soil each day, and a good lawn has dozens of them in every square foot. You can start a biological aeration routine this weekend. Grab a screwdriver and push it into the lawn. If it slides in 6 inches without much effort, your soil is in good shape. If you have to lean on it to get an inch down, the soil is compacted and starved. Spread a 1/4 inch of high-quality compost over the lawn and water it in. Do this twice a year, and you'll feed the biology that does the aerating for you. 405. Ignoring weed management. Weeds are usually a sign of a bigger issue underneath. Fix that issue and your lawn becomes much easier to manage. First, build soil with rich, complex life. Second, grow a lawn so dense and tough that weed seeds have no chance to find soil, light, or space. A thick canopy of grass blades shades the ground. Without bare soil and sunlight, 90% of weed seeds never germinate. They remain dormant in the dark. Weeds tend to take hold where the lawn is already weak. Patches near driveways, Spots under trees or areas where pets run. Strengthen those weak spots and the weeds will retreat on their own. If you do get a weed infestation, start with the least toxic options. Iron-based products work well on broadleaf weeds without damaging grass. A common mistake is applying chemical weed killers when the temperature is above 85 degrees. Hot weather causes herbicides to volatilize drift and burn the grass alongside the weeds. Wait for a cooler stretch, ideally early morning when it's still in the 70s, for better results without scorching the lawn. Always read the label. If it says not to apply above 85 degrees, that warning is there for a reason. 1P Weiser 6. Poor timing for overseeding. If your lawn looks thin, tired, or patchy, a simple way to bring it back is overseeding. The key is timing. Fall overseeding works well for cool season grasses because the soil is still warm enough for seed germination. In many regions, that's late September through late October, but the exact window varies with location. Soil temperature matters most. You want soil between 55 and 70 degrees for good germination of fescue, bluegrass, or ryegrass. A cheap soil thermometer from a hardware store is one of the best $10 investments you'll make for lawn care. Overseed with the same type of grass you already have, using a heavy seed rate of about 6 to 8 pounds per 1,000 square feet. Apply a top dress mulch product to speed germination and hold moisture. Water lightly several times a day for the first 2 weeks until you see green sprouts emerging. Warm season grasses behave differently. You can overseed them in fall if you want the lawn to stay green through winter, but you must use a cool season grass like annual rye that grows through winter and then dies back in spring. To rejuvenate a warm season lawn with more of the same grass, do it in spring. For Bermuda, for example, wait until around the 1st of April when soil temperatures consistently reach 65 degrees. Then Bermuda germinates and takes off. Point free 7. Improper mowing practices. Everyone knows they need to mow regularly, but one small change most people overlook turns mowing into a vital act of nourishing the soil and lawn. Most people collect clippings and throw them away. Instead, leave them on the lawn, chopped fine enough to fall between the standing blades. Large piles smother and burn the lawn. Finely chopped pieces act as mulch. Mulching mowers cut the grass twice under the deck before dropping it, so the pieces break down within a week. Those clippings are about 90% water and 4% nitrogen. They feed the lawn, feed the soil, and reduce the amount of fertilizer you need by about 25%. It costs nothing and is almost miraculous. There's an old idea that grass clippings cause thatch. They do not. Thatch comes from roots and stems, not leaf blades, and clippings break down in about a week in a healthy lawn. Mowing height also has a huge impact. Never remove more than 1/3 of the blade length in a single mowing. If your target height is 3 inches, mow when the lawn reaches 4.5 inches. Cutting a 6-inch lawn down to 3 inches shocks the plant. The grass goes into survival mode, loses color, and slows root growth for weeks. What helps one type of lawn thrive in summer can hurt another. Cool season grasses, fescue, bluegrass, ryegrass, should be mowed high, even up to 4 inches in summer. Taller blades shade the roots, hold moisture, and help the lawn tolerate heat. Warm season grasses, Bermuda zoysia, St. Augustine, love heat and can be cut as low as 1.5 inches. Low mowing on a warm season lawn reduces weeds because they cannot tolerate constant low cutting. The same low height would burn a cool season lawn A dull mower blade is another common cause of ragged, brown lawns. A dull blade tears the grass instead of slicing it cleanly, creating open wounds that lose water and invite fungal spores. Sharpen the blade twice per season, once in spring and once around midsummer. If you hit a rock or sprinkler head, sharpen sooner. A properly sharpened blade feels about as sharp as a butter knife. Any sharper and the edge dulls quickly. Remove the blade, clamp it in a vise, file the edge at a 30-degree angle, and bounce it on a nail before reinstalling. This hour-long task will improve the look of your lawn more than almost anything else. Pull a few blades of grass. If the cut tips are white and stringy, the blade is dull. If they're clean and green, you're in good shape. 5 feet 8. Over fertilizing in summer. When a lawn goes a little brown in July, many panic and dump fertilizer on it. Heavy nitrogen in the middle of a hot summer. Push is weak. Rapid growth at exactly the wrong time. The plant uses its energy reserves to produce blades it can't support, leading to more thatch, disease, and pest pressure. Hold off on heavy feeding until temperatures drop. If you must give the lawn a boost, use a light, slow release product or compost. 5 feet 9. Mowing wet grass. Mowing wet grass causes clumps that smother the lawn underneath and spread disease from one spot to another across the yard. Wait until the grass is dry. Even if that pushes mowing to the evening, heavy mower wheels also dig ruts into wet soil that can take months to recover. Point for feet 10. Ignoring soil compaction and pests. Compaction often comes from foot traffic. The strip from the back door to the grill. The kids run to the trampoline. Those roots get hammered down all summer, turning the soil into concrete. The grass thins out and weeds move in. If you have a heavily trafficked path, consider stepping stones or a small mulched walkway. The lawn will repair surrounding areas on its own. Watch for pests below the surface. Grubs, chinch bugs, and armyworms do their worst damage in mid to late summer. Many problems that look like drought stress are actually insect damage. A quick test, pull up a small patch of brown grass. If it lifts away like a carpet with no roots, you have grubs. Peel back a square foot of sod near the damaged edge and count the white larvae. More than 5 or 6 per square foot means treatment is needed. Beneficial nematodes are an excellent low toxicity option. They can be applied with a hose and sprayer and will hunt down grubs while leaving everything else alone. The bigger picture, most lawn products focus only on what you can see above the surface, but long-term lawn health starts much deeper. Every time you feed the lawn, feed the soil as well. Healthy soil makes the lawn dense, resilient, and able to fight off pests and disease without extra chemicals. When the